What's up, everyone? Um, it's good to be back. I was kind of MIA the past couple weeks because I was in Wyoming on a backpacking trip for a while, and that was intense, tough, fun, all the above. So I'm gonna make a video on that, and I'll probably talk about that, then. But I just don't have the footage from that yet. So once I get that, I'll you know, I'll put that together so that I can so that I can kind of show y'all how that went. But anyway, so also too, if anyone has any questions or wants me to answer anything or just like touch on any topic, just shoot me a message or write in the comments or whatever. Um, just with whatever you have, and I'll do my best to try to cover that. But something that's been on my mind lately is kind of the topic I want to talk about today. It's trusting in God. Um, it's like obviously trust is something big for us as humans. We're definitely broken, and we have a lot of pains and sufferings, and we've either done something to cause mistrust in people, or we've had stuff done to us to where it's hard to trust. But I mean, ultimately, we're called um, we're called to something higher than this life. Um, you know, God God wants us to trust in His plan fully, because it is perfect. It's much better than our plans and our understanding of things. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch base on that because being here in seminary, you know, leaving my home, all my friends, family, loved ones, my amazing dog. um, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to trust. You know, you um, you kind of, I mean, it's a wonderful environment here, just having time to pray and all that stuff. But you miss certain things, and you're just like, you just want to know what the future is, and that's really when you're called to lean on God and to trust in Him. So yeah, I would say kind of to start, like like why do we need to trust in God? Like, why is that so important? So obviously, like, we know as humans, you know, there's just so many things out of our control. Every day, like, we encounter stuff like that. We have a plan. We have a way we want things to happen. We try and organize things in a way that we want, but at the end, something happens, it throws it off, or something unexpected happens, or something maybe that you don't want happens, and then we're left kind of like, oh, what's going on? Like, you're maybe nervous, scared, or all and any sort of feeling about it. But um, you know, so that lack of control, and that overall just um, knowledge that we can try as much as we want to control things, but at the end of the day, we're really out of control on things. Um, and knowing we have a God that has a plan, and that loves us, and that really desires the good for us and desires our holiness and in our hearts. Um, yeah, I mean, just kind of that knowledge of all that stuff, like you know, is that's why it's so important to to try and gain that trust in Him, and to kind of work on that relationship with Him. So yeah, so kind of going on from that, like how does that trust look? Like, how do we foster that? Like with any friend or parent or relationship or whatever. Like, obviously, in this world, trust comes through fostering that relationship. Like talking to that person, spending time with that person. Really getting to know that person, and building that relationship. So I mean, it's the same thing with God and our relationship with Jesus. So we're called to spend time in prayer with God. We're called to obviously go to mass, go to church every Sunday, and praise God, receive the sacraments, um, and prayer is like prayer is like the base of that relationship, you know, like it's where we talk to God. It's where we do our best to try and listen to what he's telling us, and you know what he wills of us and what he wants us to do in certain things. Um, so it's really spending frequent time in prayer with God, you know, is the most important way to foster that relationship. Because otherwise, like if you're not spending time with someone, if you're not talking with them, like you don't there's no relationship, and then obviously you can build no trust. So, you know, with that time with God, like, you know, you'll give everything to him, and you know, over time he'll kind of reveal stuff to you, he'll tell you things, and he'll kind of, you know, you'll be guided along his path for you, and in that you'll see the answers to certain prayers, you'll see how he's working in your life, and you'll see his goodness, and how that manifests, you know, throughout that relationship with you, and you know, over time. So that's what builds that trust, is that you know that he loves you, and you know he wants to, you know, give you that peace and joy, and he wants to fulfill you. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, like I said, prayer, like, so important. You know, one of the other things with trust is like, you know, we have plans, and we have, you know, we have things we want, we have things we desire, we have things that, you know, we have pains, we have sufferings, we have joys, we have, you know, we have successes, we have failures, we have all these things, and like, um, sometimes the things that are most close to us, most dear to us, or that are most, you know, sensitive to us, or that, you know, affect us the most, we have trouble bringing these, to God. You know, whether it's, you know, we're just worried about what we want, and if God has something different, or like, you know, we don't think something can be healed, or we don't think something, you know, we just, you know, I guess we just essentially don't have that trust that God can take that and work with it and purify it, or answer it, or, you know, whatever that may be. So, you know, when we hold these things close to our heart, and hold on to them tightly, and don't give them up, you know, it makes it really difficult for us, because you know, God is the, you know, King of the universe. He is all knowing, all powerful. He, you know, he has providence over everything, and like, you know, he wants us to give all that stuff to him, and you know, the building, like I said earlier, the building of that relationship, the building of that trust is what will kind of, you know, get out that stuff, you know, like the superficial stuff will come first, because that's easiest to give, but like as you go on, that difficult stuff it will be pulled out of you, because you trust in him more, and you want to give him that. So these things are super important to give to him, like, you know, you say, you know, you're worried about a certain thing, you know, you want something to end up a certain way, or in your life, or you have plans for your life, but you know, that trust in God is really giving him that, you know, like, this is what I want for my life, you know, I want to be married, or I want to have kids, or I want this job, or, you know, this vocation, or whatever. um and you know, just really giving that to God, and being, listen, like, you know, I'm going to give you these desires, I'm going to give you these plans I have, and I want you to work with them, and you know, whatever that you have in mind for those things, um you know, I know that will be best for me, and will fulfill me the most, or you know, I just trust in whatever you have for me. So really, like, surrendering, and letting go of those things, you know, and that's kind of more talking about plans, but you know, it gives you that peace, because you don't have, when you hold on to that stuff tightly, anything that maybe threatens that, or anything that might be different, it's going to give you that worry, that fear. So really just letting that stuff go, and surrendering that to God, and being like, okay, like, I trust you with whatever happens. It really brings you peace, and it allows you just to, you know, it allows you to have more peace in your daily life. And you know, say it's things like sufferings, or pains, or aches, or heartbreaks in the past, like, you know, a lot of times we'll just be like, okay, I don't think this can be healed, or like, you know, that shows just kind of a lack of trust, that like, you know, I don't think this can be healed in me, I don't think that God can work, you know, through me in this, I don't think that, you know, um I don't think this is something that can be possibly fixed, or whatever. um but again, like, knowing who God is, knowing his qualities, like, we must give that stuff to him, because he can heal us. He can work through sufferings and pains and heartbreaks to bring about greater good, and to bring about, purifying of our hearts, and growth in us that couldn't happen without those pains or sufferings. So, um, other than plans, like talking about these pains and sufferings or heartbreaks or whatever, um, you know, as you develop that trust, you bring these to God eventually, and you'll see that He'll work through those, quite beautifully, and really provide you with what you need to heal, and to grow. And you'll see that He's at your side through all those things. Yeah, so I'm talking about that. Like, what is trust? Why is it needed? Like, how does it get formed? Like, how do you gain that trust? And then, like, what does it look like, kind of like, as it goes on, and you give that stuff to him. So, um you know what I would say for people here, just kind of like to act at, like, what do I do about this? So, like, um what's the easiest step, and like the thing to take out of this, which is, the action step, which is the most important. So, I would say, if you don't have any, if you're not praying at all, and you're not giving any, time for silent prayer, in your day, or you don't have any, like, frequent or consistent prayer life, that's like step one. Like, you got to have that daily prayer life, because, like I said, the relationship, like, as with any other person, like with God, if you're not spending time with him, if you're not talking to him, like, there's no relationship there. And God, he wants to work with you. He wants you to be close to him, so that he can, you know so that he can work through your life, and really, you know let you take in the love that he wants to give you. So, having that consistent prayer life every day, will foster that trust. It will foster that relationship, and it will really, you will fruit. You will start to bear fruit in your life, and have more peace and joy. But, um, you know, the type of prayer, like, to me, the best is silence. God speaks in silence. He speaks in our heart in silence. And a lot of times throughout this world, like, a lot of those things that we really need to bring to God, that we need to give to God, to trust in Him, and trust in His plan, and trust in His, you know, trust in what He can do with us. A lot of that stuff is deep in us, and with all the distractions in the world today, whether it be like phones, TV, social media, whatever it is, that stuff. If we don't have that silence, that stuff can stay deep in there for a long time, even your whole life. Um, and so, really consistent silence. Like, I would, you can start, or you can start little, but, working up to like 20 to 30 minutes a day of consistent silent prayer, just talking to God, listening to what He has to say, just really, like, pulling that stuff out of you that you need to give to Him. um, stuff that needs to be healed, or wants, desires, deepest desires of your heart, joys, just all this stuff that you can give to him. A lot of that stuff can only come out through silence. And then also too, that's the only way you can hear too, because, you need that silence to be able to listen to how God speaks in your heart, and what He wants you to do, and His plans for you, and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what I would say. I mean, it's changed my life. The silent prayer, it's so peaceful. There's a lot of, obviously, we all have a lot of difficulties in our lives, and just plans, like I said, desires, all these things that we're just like, what do I do with this? Like, I'm worried, or this, I'm anxious about this or that, and, like, just knowing, for me personally, especially being here in seminary, like, knowing that I have that silent prayer time every day, and here, man, I got a lot of it here. It's like hour and a half to 2 hours every day, which is like amazing. But, knowing I have that, it's just it just gives me so much peace, because, I know that I'm giving all this stuff up to the Almighty One, the one who, is all powerful, all knowing, that, God, who has all these qualities, that, and God, who's, sovereign over all of us, and is working through us, and wants us, desires our hearts. um and when you come with a contrite heart and you give these things to God, it just, man, like I'm I'm such like a weak human, and I'm giving up this. I'm giving up control of all this stuff, and I'm giving it to God, who's perfect and is our God and Almighty. Like it's just so nice. Like He's gonna do way better with it than I could. Um, so yeah, that would be my challenge to everyone, watching this. Spend silent time in silent prayer every day, whether it's just a little bit, in your car ride, going to work or to or from work, just kind of sit in silence and just talk to God, or whether it's out in nature, or just in the morning when you get up, at night before you go to bed. Just try to find some time here and there, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes. um, do that consistently, and you'll be amazed at the peace that you can gain over time with that. Just really trusting in God and giving everything up to Him, and really, just surrendering to His will and His plan. So, that it's a big topic. I've gotten a lot better at it. I'm not perfect. It's just a life. It's a lifetime of work on trust. I have to work on it every single day. But it brings it makes your life so much better, and you're able to kind of take part in God's plan for your life, and have peace, and really like have peace and joy in that, you know, that you're doing good, and God's working through you more and more. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys, enjoyed that. I'm going to be putting up some more videos, like, kind of experiences here, and stuff like that. But anyway, let me know if y'all, want me to talk about anything. But otherwise, go dogs, and peace.